Yeah.
I had to off. Makes 15 knots instead.
Yeah. Wow.
Get a lot of free energy.
Yeah, that's great.
There we go, we're back to the first power setting again now. Oh, Bill, welcome.
Thank you, Korum.
Squeezed us into your schedule, so thanks very much. I know you got a bit of travel on. You had an exciting day at Lansing yesterday.
Sure did. Well, you know, I remember meeting you last year. I loved your energy. I loved your vision. And the plane wasn't in a position to fly last year because it was on display.
Yeah.
So when you contacted me, I was like, you know, this is a shot. I want to see if it, see how well it works.
Yeah, amazing. And the story that I'm not going to let go, and I'm definitely going to repeat this way, is that you chose to come here instead of going to have dinner with Richard Branson in Mount Vegas.
Yes, well, yeah, Richard happens to be in Australia, and some of the CEOs of the companies I've funded were invited to go up to his little island up in Medusa called Makepeace Island. It's a little island in the shape of a heart in a river. And they were arranging for dinner, so they were some of the CEOs were trying to get me worked into that, and the logistics got a little complicated. So much more fun to do this. What is that? Is that Rottnest?
That is Rottnest Island.
Okay.
Nice and close. Did you travel there by air?
I've never gone to Rottnest by air. I've always taken the ferry.
Yeah, okay.
How long does it take to fly from here to Rottnest? Okay.
And that's at a Odyssey, it's big enough.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're having a nice little slow descent. Tell us about where you've been fighting lately. Your Instagram. It's such a beautiful place. Not just the water, but the snow sometimes too.
Yeah, well, you know, I'd say some of the most beautiful places to kite are right here in Perth in the general area. Yeah, so I think on this trip, we were kiting down near the port containers at the southern end of the Cabo Zone. Right. And then we hit, I guess, Leighton and then Dutch East, which is near the Dutch Inn. Yep. And yesterday we were up at Lansing. Yeah, so a lot of places on the coast here.
We'll fly over where you were like yesterday.
Awesome. Yeah, and in January I'll be snow kiting in St. Moritz. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. It's just fun. You can so many places to kite on either.
I'll have to get a link to your Instagram. They're awesome.
No, the winds is highly variable today.
It's been just our toes. Yeah, my toes is pilot.
Yeah.
Aircraft in shape. So St. Moritz, is it?
St. Moritz, yes. In Switzerland. Yeah, it's Switzerland. It's a wonderful little winter ski town, but there's an organization that throws one of the leading kind of high-end conferences on digital assets and cryptocurrency. So they run something called cfc-stmoritz.com. Okay. And we usually go to that, and then we do a snow kite weekend, and then some of us will go on to the World Economic Forum in Davos after that.
So that kind of leads me into my next question. I was going to ask you about you've been up to everybody this
Yep. Yeah, so I guess it's my life is kind of a combination of working with entrepreneurs to help them get off the ground and build wonderful communities and companies, and a little bit of nonprofit work through a nonprofit called Acti Global, which is a little community of athletes, conservationists, technologists, artists, and innovators. And that is basically the support group that does our conservation and economic empowerment through entrepreneurship work. Has been kind of the human fuel to build community around young aspiring entrepreneurs to get their companies off the ground. We've had some magical experiences right here in Perth, and also Greater Australia in Finding Melody Perkins,
Yeah,
who
yeah.
decided to learn to try to kite, and
Yeah, right. Okay, yeah.
yeah, and she raised a lot of her seed round through our community, and went on to build, literally the leading world-leading company
Yeah.
in the design space called Canva.
I was using Canva earlier today.
Oh, you were
Yeah,
fantastic.
I use it for some.
Well, I'm honored, and I think she'll be glad to hear that as we're cruising around in one of the first commercial electric airplane service companies. So another pioneer using a pioneer product. Yeah, and that trip where we met Melody, I think over a decade ago here in Perth, has that little conference and community has grown over the years to be something called West Tech Fest, which is it's one of the longest standing tech conferences in all of Australia. It draws about 5,000 people that spans founders, venture capital funders, universities, and government people. And through the networks that have been built around that, I've managed to find other great entrepreneurs to back, like Luke Lanier, who founded Safety Culture, Gemma Green, that founded Power Ledger, William and Grace, Wong and Sharouj Chowdhury that started Livent, and a handful of other great companies. But of course, those are kind of Australian icons now in the tech community.
Yeah.
But my work is worldwide, and I've funded companies literally all over the world. Yeah, I am very honored to have backed, to be the first backer of Eric Yuan, who started Zoom, and funded that about 10 years ago. And that changed my life, because it did allow me to work from home, literally starting a decade ago. So what people experienced in having to work from home COVID, I literally had already adapted to that a decade ago.
You're acclimatized.
Yes, and it has allowed me to fund companies everywhere.
So you mentioned just the ecosystem.
Basically, yeah. While it is a broad group, as I mentioned, of athletes, entrepreneurs, technologists, artists, and innovators, it really started at the intersection of tech people that kiteboarded, and that just were just extraordinarily excited about both.
Yes.
So that little hotspot, the intersection of those two, is a unique kind of person that is willing to go out and try anything.
Yeah, sure.
And take on, you have to be a little bit, I call it, to start a company, you have to have both healthy disrespect of the systems that exist, and a little bit of naivete, because it's a lot harder than you think.
It always is,
So
you don't want to know that at the start.
No, otherwise you'd never do it. And so people that do both of those, they're just extraordinary people. They're willing to take on those challenges, and they're fearless.
Feathering it a little just to control our descent there.
Very smooth landing.
Yeah, well, given all those bumps, I'm pretty happy with that.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. I come to Australia, and when I meet people on the East Coast, and I ask them if they've been to Perth, 90% of the people I meet have never been here.
That's bizarre, right?
And I'm like, well, why? They're like, this is like one of the most beautiful places in the world.
Shh, don't tell them. It's one of our little secrets.
And then I meet people around here. Have you tried kiting or surfing? No. I said, what? Are you kidding me?
You live in one of the kite capitals of the world.
Yeah, you grow up here and you never even tried. And I do see some crazy experimentation. A friend of mine was hired in by Larry Page, co-founder of Google, to start what was called Kitty Hawk Aviation.
Yes.
Yeah, they ended up folding that because they changed direction too many times, I guess. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but yeah, Sebastian Thrun
Yep.
He was the winner of the DARPA challenge for the first for the first robotic car to be able to cross the Mojave Desert.
Wow.
And then he helped instigate the start of Google X, with Google Street View.
Yep.
They had robot cars and cameras, kind of filming for the maps. And then some of that DNA went into Waymo, and then ultimately Kitty Hawk. Yeah, he's working on cool stuff. I'm sure there were, anytime you try to conquer too many significant mountains to climb in one company, it's hard. There's too many variables. But the Kitty Hawk project, it was sort of a concept of a flying car, but with robotic landing.
Right.
So you can basically tap on the screen the location where you wanted to go, and it would fly automatically. And then the landing, it would use computer vision to survey what was below, pick out a spot where it could land, and then just bring you down. Yes, it's kind of like, a map.
I thought I read that the Kitty Hawk project, though it got wound up, it was famous for a huge amount of IP.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A lot of lessons.
Yeah, I didn't. I guess I didn't follow what happened to it. I guess it no longer a commercial civilian path, but it makes total sense for military.
All that work they did was not.
It's not going to go to waste. No, that IP is so valuable.
Yeah.
And what does a plane like this cost again? I think you told me
about
last.
220,000 Australian.
Okay,
and
that's not bad.
They're a little cheaper in Europe. We've got a lot of shipping costs.
Right.
On top in Europe, they're delivered by road, so it's a bit different. Almost $20,000 Australian gets eaten up in getting it here.
Okay.
Yeah, but there's a stunning line. They're available all over the world, and they're magnificent.
How many have they made roughly now? Do you know?
I think it's about 300 to 350 in circulation.
Okay.
They've sold that many. I don't know how many are still operating.
Yeah.
Probably most of them. So what you've done is actually quite unique. Going to fly an electric plane. There's only a couple of hundred of these in the world.
Yeah. Anybody else operating a service operation like you yet?
Not in Australia. So we've been sort of full swing with this flight training in the electric aircraft for over a year now. We did some early testing with one plane, added 2 more planes to the fleet. We'd like to do a few more in 2024. We've got a few extra operators using the planes now, and the volume's going up and up. Now more people are learning how to train in them and how to operate them on the ground, which is all very different. There's a whole bunch of new habits to form with operating an electric aircraft. But we've kind of worked it out, and I'm in a position to help people transition and show them how they can bring these into their fleet with the least amount of disruption. And the cost saving for them is incredible.
I bet.
The day-to-day operational cost of this aircraft versus a comparable IC aircraft are 1/10.
Wow.
And then the lifetime cost is still less than a half. So you've got to change batteries at some stage, and that's a big expense. But
and to swap the battery, how much does the battery cost? Have they priced that yet? Or
it's about 30,000 Australian for an exchange battery.
Okay.
You get a new one, the old one goes back to be rebuilt, and it takes about 15 minutes to swap it out.
Wow, that's amazing.
So it's not a huge disruption.
That's incredible.
On the so even factoring all of those costs in and a replacement motor after 6,000 hours, which the motor's certified for, even after all of that, it's still half the cost of operating a comparable non-electric aircraft.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, so the cost, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can get some of the cadet programs and some of the airlines starting to use these.
Yeah.
They can do a bit of decarbonisation, some cost reduction. But
it's cheaper, better, faster.
Cheaper, better, faster, but their adoption of these will help develop the industry as well, and then we get to scale, and then the cost comes down more, the batteries get better. So we need that early uptake.
The beauty of electronics products.
I need you fighting the good fight for me.
I'm in.
All these people you rub shoulders with. Adopt.
Definitely. Cool.
It's been absolutely fantastic having you. Thanks for making the time, and I hope you enjoyed that experience.
I loved it. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much.
Great.